us to be able to do that. So it's time to talk about this conversation, or to have this conversation about how can we win at work and succeed in life. My name is Dr. Brad. I'm a performance coach for men. I help men do just that, to be able to perform at a high level in multiple areas of life so that you can succeed without neglecting your fulfillment. But today I've got somebody who, I tell you, as soon as we hit live on a Zoom call a few weeks ago, it was just instant friendship, instant, wanting to lock arms to serve. My friend Myron Edmonds could not be a better person to be on this summit because he coaches men. He's got a platform called the Winning Circle, where he deals specifically with high achieving guys. So I really want you guys to pay close attention, because this is specifically his niche. I've got other guys on here where they might be great entrepreneurs and stuff like this, but like, this has been a recent calling and passion for him. So let me just give you a little bit more specifics in terms of why you need to listen to him. Dr. Myron Edmonds is a second-generation pastor, author, community activist, and leadership consultant in the Edmonds family. He's the proud pastor of the historic Grace Community Seventh-day Adventist Church, and his pastoral career has spanned 18 years. He's one of the most fearless, transparent leaders of this generation, highly sought-after speaker who travels the world, helping to revitalize dying churches and develop leaders and strengthen families. That's what the bio says, guys, but I'll be real with you. Just a phenomenal man of God, just phenomenal man in general, very authentic. Get ready to be blessed. Pull out your pen and pad. Dr. Myron Edmonds, welcome to the Elite Men Summit, man.
We here, man. Listen, when I was listening to you give the intro, I'm just like, man, only God could have brought about this connection. Just the nomenclature, the language in which you're using, man, just really, honestly, just touches a really deep place of where I am personally right now. And, I think we pray for a lot of things, Dr. Brad. We pray for success. We pray for, especially if we're Christians, you go to church long enough, somebody gonna pray for healing. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna pray, for something. And generally, it's oftentimes external stuff. Man, one of the things I've been praying for, as I've been praying for connections, I'm like, Lord,
wow,
I'm praying for divine appointments with respect to relationship. I used to pastor a guy. Y'all might know who he is. His name is Little Richard. Little Richard passed last year, or was it this year? I'm getting 2020 and 2019 mixed up.
That's
anyway,
right. It's all crazy.
One of the things Little Richard said to me, famed rock and roll Hall of Fame singer. Little Richard said to me, he said, man, when you have relationship, you don't need money. He said, it's all about relationships. It's all about who you know. And I'm not just asking God for this in terms of, trying to advance my career, my platform, my stage. But man, I really believe, man, that the next level, whatever that is for many of us, the elite status that many of us crave and desire, really, man, it comes from association. It comes from deep relationship. And I particularly think, and what I've been sharing lately is men specifically need other men. Praise God for our sisters, man. Listen, shout out to all our mothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA draft was last night. You could see all the brothers. The mothers were present, right? Yeah. Saw very few fathers involved. And when you did, it looked rare. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need brothers to help brothers to get to where we're trying to get, man. And so I'm just glad to be here with you, man. I just had to say that, man. I affirm what you're doing. And I hope all the brothers lean in, man, because God has given you something I think that this generation of men needs to hear.
Well, I think this is going to be special, man, because we connected on just that. And you talk about prayers being answered. I mean, this just happened. It literally just kind of happened. And it was funny because, as I was putting together the summit, like, I remember I was like, man, I need a couple of phenomenal guys. And this just happened. So you talking about prayers being answered, this being divine, nothing is by happenstance, man. Everything happens for a reason. So, man, let's just jump right into it, man. You've got a passion to help men. Tell me where that stems from, and then we're going to get into your story, because I don't think somebody's going to have a passion to want to work with men and move the needle in their lives if something hadn't happened in their life that they've been able to overcome or something like that. But tell me how you got to this place where this passion and purpose has combined to this area of helping men, specifically high achievers?
Sure. Listen, I've been surrounded my entire life by positive male influences. And, it first starts with my father. I can say that my dad, man, primarily has painted my vision for what manhood looks like, especially as a child growing up. My father was very much a man's man. I'm the type of kid that, I grew up the old school. Like even in the summertime, you couldn't sleep in, you know what I'm saying? You had to get up, clean the garage, do something, go get a job. And so one of the things that was always instilled in me by my father was industry, right? Like work ethic. And it's almost like you're not a man if you are lazy. This is the kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of what I got.
Yeah.
So I saw this picture of him, his diligence, a man of God, pastor, community, involved in the community. However, man, a lot of this stuff shifted when my parents got divorced after 35 years of marriage. This happened about 7 years ago. And so I began to see what I would describe as sort of, man, I was hurt by my dad. I was hurt by the brokenness of the marriage. I was hurt by things that I found out about my father. And I think what that did was that helped me to have a more complete picture of what we're working with when we're talking about men. And I think a lot of times when we paint pictures of men, we're always painting pictures of men outside of the realm of wholeness, outside of the realm of sort of we miss moments to see their imperfections as we should in relationship to their ability to still be the strong men that we're looking for. And so, I can honestly say, bro, I didn't really get the whole toxic masculinity coming up as a kid. My dad was very affectionate. He hugged, he kissed me. You know what I'm saying? We talked, we spent time together. I'm blessed, dude. I know that's not every brother's story. I'm blessed. However, my whole life, I think, and my worldview was shattered when the marriage fell apart. Me and my dad were estranged after that. And I really started asking some tough questions, man, about, everything that I thought I learned from him was a lie. And then I began to realize not only from him, but my own personal experiences. Simultaneously, all of this is happening where here I am, a pastor, my father loses his marriage, and here I am addicted to pornography as a pastor, going through hell with my marriage, with my wife, getting ready to peace out, didn't know if we were going to stay together. All of this stuff is starting to happen. And what I really kind of describe this as is, it was sort of a midlife crisis, man. I'm in my 30s, but man, everything just kind of, the foundation, the stability, everything that I thought was true began to be thrown upside down. And so for me, that was sort of the genesis moment where I'm like, yo, there's something up. And you start digging in your family tree, man. You start looking at yourself, man. You start getting exposed. Marriage will expose it. You know what I'm saying? Your kids will expose your flaws. Yeah. Man, I never shall forget. And I'll just say this, man, and shut up. Man, I started realizing just how broken I was through watching my father's brokenness. It's amazing how God will use other people's experiences to teach you about yourself. Typically, we look down on other brothers that have made mistakes, and we sort of expect more out of others than we expect out of ourselves. But what I started seeing was a mirror. Like, dude, this is you. Like, this is your experience. Very gifted, very talented, loves people, but really deep down inside, you got a lot of fears, you got a lot of insecurities, and you got some addictions as well. And you're a flawed man, but being flawed does not disqualify you from purpose, does not disqualify you from assignment. What I really need from you right now is I need vulnerability. That's what I need right now. And for me, this is the kind of masculinity I think that the message we need to start sending to men is that men don't have to have it together, that you in fact are anointed. You in fact are called. You in fact are still an elite man, even if you've got flaws. When I look through the word, bro, all I see is flawed men. All I see is dudes with issues. All I see is dudes with problems. However, what we have struggled with is with actually addressing the issues, with being vulnerable and authentic in dealing with it. And man, all of that just kind of came to fruition in the past few years. And man, I really feel called now. I've always had a gift at attracting men. I've always had a gift at pouring into young men. Everywhere you see me, people have always said, man, there's always young brothers around you. But I think what God is doing now, it's evolving, and he's helping me to understand that my purpose in life really, man, is to equip brothers to live authentic lives, vulnerable lives, because in our weakness, that's when we're strong.
Hey, man, how I've told my story to you. I've told my story to, other guys that talking on here. And again, yeah, man, several years ago, I'm in my 30s, man, and this desire to pursue and achieve and succeed in my career, I got there, and I think you would agree, nothing's wrong with pursuing something. Nothing's wrong with succeeding or even, trying to achieve something. But I found myself, despite the fact that I had achieved it, I was the most unfulfilled that I was. Outwardly successful, secretly stuck, feeling like I need to keep this up to maintain some level of I don't know, influence, status, or something, right? And I just remember saying, man, I've got to change, dude. I'm not the husband, father, business owner. I'm not the man of faith. I make horrible decisions. How do we get here, man? Like how do we get here? Because most of us up to this point, oftentimes the chase is so important and upheld by us, but it's coming at so much of a great cost. How do we get to that point? Because I mean, you're talking about you in your 30s, successful pastor, speaker, I mean, like the whole nine, but there's this underlying stuff that's happening, and there's an incongruency, right? We're just like not having integrity through our lives. How do we get here, man?
Man, the word says, and I can relate so much to what you're saying. It says, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Man, I believe every man will have a crisis of belief. He'll have a crisis of identity, really. And I really feel like everything by which you speak of in terms of fulfillment is rooted in clarity of identity. And for many of us, we've spent our whole lives really trying to figure out who we are, right? We start off as little boys trying to figure out who we are, fitting in school, right? Being teased, being bullied, not really sure, being poor, having money, not having money, and not sure who you are. And then you get middle school, high school, or whatever, and maybe it's athletics, or maybe it's in the classroom, or maybe it's with girls, or whatever it is. And so what you're trying to do over time is you're trying to build this story about who you are. I love reading, man. One of the books that I've been reading lately is The Big Leap. And one of the things that the author says there is that for most of us, most human beings, for the first half of our lives, we live our lives based on a narrative that we've told ourselves. This narrative or this story of who we are is really a survival tactic that we've had to use simply to just be able to cope with the vicissitudes of life, whatever we've been through, our upbringing, our family, our daddy in our life, our daddy not in our life, stuff that happened, molested, abused, all the stuff that happens to us. They talk about adverse childhood experiences, like ACEs, right? This trauma that people are going through, right? And they say that 60% of us have had these experiences. And these experiences, Doc, are taking 20 years off of our life, are increasing the risk for heart disease, increasing the risk for cancer, increasing the risk. So many of us are dying trying to be men. That's what's happening. And that's what I experienced. Man, here I am, successful, sought after, books written, multiple degrees, all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, the truth hit me. And it's going to hit every man at some point that you're not who you thought you were, that you're not who you thought you were. Now, in the world, they view that as like, that's a disappointment. You don't want that move. You just keep pushing. But man, all of us need that experience where we come to grips, where we come to the end of ourselves, where the facade is put aside, man. All of the, I'm saying, the pretension is laid down, like all the toxic masculinity, right? Of this socialized idea that I've got to be strong and I got to push through and I don't get help and I don't get a counselor and and all we're doing is self-medicating on relationships, self-medicating on work, self-medicating on success. And the truth of the matter is we still walking around here and don't know who we are. And when what God had to do to me And what I pray that he does to some of us is that, man, he brings us to the end of ourselves so that we can know who we are. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know this feeling. Man, when you come to the end of yourself, sometimes you got to bust your head wide open for it to happen, right?
Yep.
Man, there's no greater feeling in the world to be free. To be free, man. I ain't trying to live for them. I'm not trying to live for this person or that person. Man, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. It ain't about money. It ain't about status anymore. I'm free. And the truth did that for your boy. Mm-hmm.
There's a liberation, bro. I mean, like there's just a liberation to it. My fear is that when you're talking, I feel like to bring it to real life, there's a crossroad. There comes a time where, like you said, you come to the end of yourself, mm-hmm. and you got a decision to make, and I feel like at the end of yourself, there's one road that says, look, man, we can try to fix this, right? And we can try to address what's happening, or we can continue and start sweeping stuff under the rug, man, and just not address, because it's painful. You know what I'm saying? It's painful to get through some of this stuff and to realize, you know what, man, I'm not the dude I thought, or this stuff that's been chasing is coming to a too great a cost. And so there's this crossroad, right? What can we do to get more men to go down the road and say, I need to address this, even though there might be some pain, so that we don't get so many men who, and we'll talk about this in a minute, in terms of like some of the stuff that you're seeing, if we keep going down this path of chasing who we're not.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can we get more people down the right path?
Right. There's a fear. The fear is, I heard one person say it like this. They said, that we will never experience the change that we want until the pain of remaining the same. You know what I'm saying? Just outgrows the pain of the change, right? Like, I can't stay here no more. And listen, that's really who we're appealing to. And because this really isn't for everybody. The Elite Men Summit, it's not for everybody.
Nope.
The message that you and I are sharing right now, it's not for everybody.
No.
Man, we looking in this camp right now, we talking to you, brother. We're talking to the brother that's sick of it, man.
Yeah,
that knows that there's more, that knows that God's hand is on your life, knows you survived some stuff, but you didn't survive all this stuff to be living from check to check, and be living from woman to woman, and be living from one success to the next success, and suppressing and repressing all the stuff that you got going on inside of you. We don't even got, there ain't nothing, we don't have to say nothing. The Spirit has already revealed this. You just need somebody to free you and give you permission. And so what me and Dr. Brad are doing right now is kind of what helped me. Man, being surrounded, man, by positive influences of men has been the thing. Look, accountability keeps me from cheating on my wife, man. Come on, man. I got a great woman. I love her to death. I wish I could tell you it was just love. It's not just love, but it's having a circle. It's having a squad in my life of brothers who are like, bro, man, we ain't gonna let you stay right here.
Yeah,
and one of the hardest things, especially as a preacher and somebody who helps coach men, stuff like that, who's very pragmatic, you always want to give people steps. If you do this, you'll get this result.
Sure.
Here, let me help you out right this. What I want you to do right now is I want you to pray the same prayer I prayed that connected me with Dr. Brad. And this is this. God, put people in my life, because what we're saying right now, what we're calling you to, this level of this kind of healing, being a whole man, not being superficial. Come on, all we've been taught our whole lives, get money, get chicks, you know what I'm saying? Get power, get all that. None of that stuff satisfies. Look at your Bible, look at history, man, look at politics, look at sports. Real quick, Dr. Brad, I was watching the Last Dance. It was the documentary on the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
And then, extolling the virtues of Jordan, and, just how great Jordan was. Who's the GOAT? Is it Jordan? Is it LeBron or whatever? You got all that kind of stuff going on, right?
Right.
But the crazy thing is as I'm watching that, there was a scene in there. I don't know if you remember it, but the interviewer asked Jordan, what was the price? They said, what was the price? How much did it cost you to be successful, to be the greatest player, to win 6 championships? And man, MJ, man, you could see tears welling up in his eyes. And in the context of it was the loss of relationships. It was the loss of relationships. Come on, man. We talking about MJ. Most of us paying too much money for his shoes right now.
That's
Come
right.
on, y'all, man. We have debates about him being the GOAT.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of the first Black billionaires. Come on now, owns a team. And even Jordan, with everything that he has, man, as he began to look over his life and to look over his accomplishments, the thing that came to his mind, the cost of winning was the cost of what he wants most. And that's relationships. And this for me is everything. I feel like, Dr. Brad, listen, man, I think who we are is the sum total, not only of our experiences, but our relationships. Yeah, and man. So many of us brothers are surrounded by people that simply, I don't know, man, they do not push us to destiny. They don't push us to healing. They don't push us through pain. We got a lot of yes men around us. We got a lot of buddies, but we don't have a lot of friends. And I hear brothers say all the time, man, that's my best friend. That's my homie from way back in the day. Dudes ain't never had a conversation, man, about their daddies, never had a conversation about spirituality, never had a conversation about their health, never had a conversation about deep stuff about marriage and so forth and so on. Like we're having a lot of superficial relationships, but we're not being challenged. We're not being challenged to go deeper. And my thing, I think the solution to the brokenness of men are other men who encourage healthy masculinity and who encourage pursuing one's purpose and who hold one accountable. I think that's the solution. That it starts there.
Hey man, it was the catalyst for me. I mean, to be honest with you, and here's what blew my mind, Myron, is I'm sitting here 30, 34, 35, trying to understand like the men that I had met. So, when I was at my lowest, I trusted, I just kept hearing this message of you got to talk to somebody. Like you got to tell somebody your dirt, bro. Like you got to tell somebody this dirt you got. And I didn't want to do it, because it was too much pride, shame. I mean, the whole thing. I'm supposed to have it together, man. It's Dr. Brad. So, but I experienced men who were like, dude, the two words you said, the elite man, like authentic and vulnerable. But it was the authenticity that blew me away. Just phenomenal dudes, man. Dudes just chop it up just like this. Ain't no different than anybody else. Ain't trying to browbeat me over the head with a Bible. Ain't trying to do none of that. We could just have a conversation. And what kind of blew me away was, where are these people at? How am I 35 years old? I've been in the professional community since I was 20, right? I mean, going to school and in this professional community and then even younger, kind of being in the church, like, why am I just meeting somebody like this? Why am I just meeting someone like this? And it wasn't until later I was like, dude, we just don't have enough examples, man. We don't have enough examples. And you talk about, in essence, we're talking about this fork in the road. How can we push people toward the right way? First thing you said is accountability, people, relationships. It was the catalyst for me, man. I just remember being like, man, Sean, I could have used you a long time ago, bro. But he was crazy, man. You know what it took? Sean had been there for a lot of time. I don't think I'd have been ready for Sean until I was ready to relent to the idea that I needed help. It wasn't until I could, and men don't like this, surrender to the idea that I couldn't do this by myself. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that's hard to do, but understand the surrender is not a physical surrender. You ain't surrendering to like, oh my gosh, like I'm waving the white flag, I done lost. No, right? Like we think about surrender like we done lost, right? Wave the white flag, they gonna take me for all I got. They done won the war. No, this is a emotional, a spiritual surrender to just be like, hey man, like I got to get out of here. I can't be here any longer. Then that was when I think I started seeing him more.
Wow. I love how you said that. Where do we find it? I didn't see him, it reminds me of, you ever got a car, right? You maybe got a new car or something, man. And, once you get this car, all of a sudden you start noticing, man, I see this car everywhere. Like it's like everywhere. I didn't even notice that, man. Cars everywhere. Even when you start looking for it, you start, maybe even more so when you start looking for the car. You're surfing, you're checking it out, and you just start seeing the car everywhere. Well, it's not that the cars weren't there. The car's been there. The cars were always there. It's just that your mindset changed. You start seeing it differently. Let me tell you something, man. I believe that there are brothers. I believe that the brothers are out there. I believe the thing that shifted, as you expressed, was your mindset. And so you started looking for it. Case in point. Now that your mindset has shifted and you're like, look, I'm a man who's willing to get help. I reject the notion that men have to be strong. I reject that. Where did that come from? That's not in scripture, right? Yeah. Like, where did we get somebody told us that? Like, I mean, the idea that I can't have no issues and I gotta and if I can't cry and I just gotta, where did this come from? Because what this is doing is it's killing us. It's killing men. I just saw a stat the other day. NPR did this whole series. I think the podcast is called Invisibilia, and it's about mental health. But they did this whole thing on men and loneliness in America. And they say something like 60% of men say they're lonely. And these are the brothers, Doc, that just decided that they were going to take this assessment because it's the same stuff with men and suicide. Men are more successful with suicide. But, brothers ain't sitting before counselors as they should, especially in the African-American community. We're not even going to see Dr. Brad. We're not going to Dr. Brad to get a checkup.
Yeah, man.
Somebody told us men don't get help. And I think men are dying trying to be men. They're dying trying to be men, not realizing that once their eyes get open, boom, Myron and Brad make the connection. And I'm sure other connections are just start being made because you're looking for it. You're looking for the type of dude that's not sitting around here still like, styling and profiling with the kind of car he got. Like, I'm over that. Like, I done got the car bug out of my system. I'm beyond that now. I just want it paid for at this point. I want it paid for. My value is in trying to raise a man after God's own heart right now. I got a son, and I don't want him going through the same crap I went through. I got a daughter who I'm not trying to be distant from, that I'm trying to have an open and honest relationship with. I'm trying to be an honest and good husband. All this stuff doesn't matter, but what helped me get here is when I had that moment, that crisis of faith, and I realized this ain't working. This type of manhood ain't working. I'm failing. Yeah, man. Yeah. On the external, it looks like I'm making moves, but I know the truth. And I think when men come to that moment where they're like, listen, I cannot do this anymore. I want to be honest. There's more that God has for me. Man, you're going to start seeing brothers come out the woodworks. Dudes going to be affirming stuff you believe. God, it's not that they're not there. It's just that we don't see them.
And you mentioned something. Did you say crisis of faith or crisis of fate?
I say faith. Yeah, crisis of faith.
Crisis of faith. Oh, no, that makes sense. Yeah, crisis of faith. I think we have to be willing. And then you said accountability. What else to get us on that path? Because I got a couple more questions that are just really hitting me. Crisis of faith, accountability. What else to go down again? Fork in the road to go down the let's resolve this. Let's try.
Right. So the simplest way, in terms of talking about steps for me is get help, right? Mold only grows in darkness. The minute you put light on it, you expose it, is the minute that it disappears, it goes away. Get help. How do I get help? Brother, first thing I want you to talk to somebody you respect, right? And listen, I got a mentor for every area of my life that matters. I got a marriage mentor. I talked to a brother about marriage. Listen, I got somebody on fatherhood. I got somebody on finance. I got somebody on health. I got somebody on integrity. Yes. I got somebody on just about any area of my life that matters. And listen, I'm at a point right now where I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind looking stupid. I don't mind not asking for help. And what I would like every brother to do right now, and it could be Dr. Brad, it could be me, reach out for help and say, look, I'm resonating with what you're saying. I need help. I need to talk to somebody. And here's the thing I want to get to. Bro, listen, this mental health thing is real, man. Yeah. And when we talk about mental health, like sadly in our community, we only think crazy, not crazy. Nah, man, listen, Doc, we
all crazy. Man. Let me just be real.
But listen, we gonna listen. I know I ain't. Listen, bro. Come on, listen. But the thing is we don't recognize that the brain that God, this brain that God has given us, man, it's an organ, like it's physical. It has electricity running through it. Neuroplasticity takes place where grooves are being formed in your brain based on habits and based on behavior. And so experiences that have happened in your life actually affect your brain and how you function and how you cope and how you exist in life. and you don't know everything there is to know about you. And so, listen, when I just heard about Klay Thompson tore his ACL. You know, Klay, what's he? Clay's not gonna like go home and say I got this. I'm gonna rehab myself. And Clay's gonna go get an MRI, right?
Yep.
After the MRI, he's gonna see his ortho. His ortho gonna put him on a plan. At some point, he's gonna be with a physical therapist. Then he's gonna get with a trainer. He's going to get help. And brothers will do this in sports. We celebrate these guys who go through rehab in sports. But we don't celebrate guys that take seriously the mind that God gave them. And to get help and to seek therapy, to seek counselors. I'm big on this. And I think this is something that is missing in our community. Brothers have been traumatized. Brothers have gone through stuff, and brothers won't get help. So if you don't got no friends, the least you can do as an elite man, you got insurance. Come on now. You got a pastor. You got somebody. Get a therapist. Man. Go to somebody and sit down and just talk that stuff out, and it will make a difference in your life. It's a starting point.
Yeah, man. No. Yeah, I mean, I just remember, man, the darkness got to come out, bro. I mean, things have just got to come to light, and you have to do it with somebody that you ain't got to be transparent to everybody, man. You know, everybody don't know my dirt.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't know my dirt, but I know my dirt got to be known. That's the thing is to somebody.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, this is good, man. But here's the question. And I want to say this earlier. You talked about guys being in enough pain to move. I'm going to be 100% with you guys who are watching this, man. I kind of hope this is stirring up some pain. I kind of hope this is, because many of us just we haven't looked in the mirror long enough to not just see the flaws and see the stuff, but like really ask, like, is this where I want to be? Is this where I really want to be? Because if we too distracted to sit and ask that question or to sit and just really say, you know, because like you said, we'll self-medicate going grabbing another woman. We'll self-medicate grabbing some alcohol. We'll self-medicate achieving the next thing, right? To justify our lack of fulfillment. And you know, so I need this to irritate a little bit. I had another speaker on here talking about, he said, I ain't a transformational speaker. I'm an irritational speaker. So I need to irritate you. I need to irritate you, but that's the truth, man. I hope this causes pain, but we're saying this out of love because we want you to move, because we know that one of the greatest motivators is pain. And sometimes we got to just address the fact that, look, man, I mean, dude, for years and months, I just remember thinking like I'm not where I want to be, but it wasn't until like it hurt bad enough to move. So here's my question, because you work with men. What's at risk if we don't do this stuff? What are you seeing happens?
Yeah, I think the risk is we are going to continue to hurt other people. I think we underestimate sometimes how our brokenness affects others. And a lot of the men that are watching now have children. They have significant others. They're married. They have family members. Let me give you a quick story, man. Listen, man, I've got a doctorate in family ministries with an emphasis in counseling. Bro, I didn't get counseling until last year.
Wow.
Till last year. And it wasn't because I didn't believe in it. Man, I would sit here, man, if you had me last year, I'd say the same thing I said before, but things have hit differently lately. Because I never shall forget, it was a few years ago. And listen, man, my daughter, you know, gets a hold of my phone and she comes in to the bedroom to my wife and says, yo, what's this porn on dad's phone?
Ooh.
Yo, listen, bro.
Ooh.
And so my wife says to my daughter, go ask him.
Ooh.
So my daughter comes to me and she was like, yo, what is this on your phone? Listen, I had to have a hard conversation with my daughter. Undressed, butt naked, wasn't hiding no more. Come on now. It is what it is. Like out there. Like,
yes,
I had to tell the whole story. Like, listen, God set that thing up, bro.
Yeah,
he
bro.
set that thing
all day long.
Come on. He's like, look, man, you can listen, I'm gonna give it to you two ways. You can yield.
Yep.
And go ahead and get help. You know what I'm saying? Or I just bust your behind and you can get that help. Listen, at this point right now, I'm like, yo, here I am. Listen, I straight went and got me some help, man. Finally took my own advice. And a lot of brothers, we give good advice to others. We know how to, counsel our women through tough situations. We counsel our brothers. But what we won't do is we won't take our own health by the horns and do what's necessary so that we're good. And listen, if we don't do that, what's going to end up happening is what I did to we're bleeding all over people, bleeding on our children, bleeding. And not to mention, what I didn't even mention was the generational cycles. Man, what I discovered is weakness in one generation is wickedness in the next generation. Whatever you struggle with, your kids gonna struggle with on another level. It may not be the same, but it's always worse. It's always different. It always hits different. And so, man, my responsibility right now as a leader, man, the whole reason why the Myron Edmonds Leadership Group exists is so that we can help men to leave a legacy that is worth following. Bro, oh man, listen, man, I'm not just trying to change for my sake. Man, listen, I got kids that I got cycles that need to be broken. Yeah, Come on, man. Listen, man, it's like my son literally walking out in the street and I see a bus getting ready to come and literally hit him. You know what I'm saying? Like destroy him. He don't see it, but I see it. And I refuse to say nothing because I'm suppressing and repressing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That has happened. I've not talked to anybody. When we refuse to get help, all we are doing is hurting other people around us. Jesus. And I think when we get to that place, that's when we start realizing that our lives matter. They matter, not just because I'm black. They matter because I'm black and I got black kids. Yeah. They matter because I got a wife. I got family members. I got people that are following me that need me to be at my best.
Oh man, yeah, and we don't realize that one of the things that we fail to connect is this idea that people are counting on us. And we try to oftentimes say, well, I'm gonna go work harder for my family. It's like your family never asked you to go bring in more money. I mean, you got the bins, you got that. Right. Don't do that. And I'm talking to myself, right, Myron? I mean, that was me. I'm out here doing this business because I gotta provide for my family. Like we starving. You know what I'm saying, man? I'm like, I gotta go get.
We want them to have better than us.
We want to have better than us. I mean, I want to live where they ain't got to worry about nothing. I mean, like that's why I'm going after this next thing. That's why I'm getting this next title. So that now we got to go to Fiji. Like that's the kind of life I want them to have. So that they have no idea who I am as we go to Fiji. Who is flying with us? Who's flying to Fiji? You know what I'm saying? So. Here's one question I have for you, and then don't land the plane. You have a great offer you want to give these guys for free, which is hard to believe, but you got a heart like that. Can you have success? Can you win in what you do for your profession and career and in life? Can you really, in essence, kind of have it all? Can you have the life that you design and be successful and fulfilled? Because I feel like some people feel like, oh man, you got to have one at the cost, some have experienced that. It's like, bro, I mean, I'm successful, it's come at this cost, but I'm afraid that if I tip the scale, that I'm gonna lose this success. Can we have it both, man? Can we?
Wow. Listen, this is what I honestly feel. And being a person of faith, man, my measuring stick, like my standard, it hits a little different for me because man, I'm not just creating this thing out the four corners of my brain, man. I really am like trying to follow what my faith says. My faith tells me that if I seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, then everything gonna be added. So I'm not even trying. Listen, worldly success ain't success at all. Like, listen, man, if I got money and prestige and all this stuff, but I am failing in the things that matter. I'm failing my kids. I'm failing in my relationships. I'm unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm hurting a bunch of women. I'm just in and out of relationships. Yeah. Then I'm not successful. I'm not successful. Man. And this is something that we've got to shift, man. We've got to stop celebrating unhealed, one-dimensional men that simply can put bread on the table. This is, for many of us, we are in the position we're in right now because of that paradigm.
Yeah.
When we were taken from the shores of Africa. That was not the case in Africa. In Africa, our families were whole. In Africa, they knew who we were. I love when you said that. I remember my kid said to me one day, I swore I was a great father. And my daughter said, yeah, daddy is around, but he's not around. This is what a 7-year-old said. He's around, but he's not around. I never forget, my wife said to me, which kind of inspired me to do this 5 ways that men can win in the Things That Matter conference that precipitated to this winning circle thing. I was just like, man, we're not winning in Things That Matter. My wife straight up told me, she was like, dude, you Superman out there, but you Clark Kent at home. Like everybody, they're impressed. I'm not. And here's the truth. She knows me. Yeah, she knows me. My kids know me. Everything else is a lie, right? She knows me. And what I started realizing is that there was something missing in my life for real. Like who the persona and the person were disconnected. And I didn't want to live with that contradiction any longer. I couldn't take it anymore. Man, I wanted there to be like synergy. I wanted there to be agreement between who I am and what they think. And so now, man, I'm pretty much cool with the fact I've reserved that a lot of people may not appreciate that I'm the most successful person. But at the end of the day, who am I? Who am I? What am I called to? I'm really called to winning the things that matter. And so to answer your question, man, the word tells me, here's the promise, that if I pursue the things that matter, family, faith, come on, relationship with my kids, my own personal health, man, come on now, improving myself, humility, these kinds of things. Like, yo, listen, if I'm winning in those things, the word says, man, he gonna give me everything else. Hey, listen, he ain't gonna withhold. The word says he ain't gonna withhold no good thing from those that walk uprightly. Y'all, listen, Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived. Then listen, the Lord comes to this brother. He like, yo, listen, whatever you want, you got it. Blank check. Come on now. Listen, y'all, think about that. Imagine the Lord showed up on your behind right now. It was like, yo, here's a blank check. Whatever you want, you got it. Your boy Solomon was so locked in. This dude was like, listen, man, I want wisdom. I want wisdom. I want wisdom. Listen, teach me how to follow your statutes. Man, I want to be up in your grill. I want to be in your face. I want to know you. I want character. And the Lord said, because he said that, he said, man, he gave him all kind of wealth. Listen, you're going to get this. I can trust you. Here's the thing. Many of us going to lose what we've gotten because God can't trust us with it.
Can't trust us, bro. Oh, my gosh. Can't trust us with it. Think about our own kids, man. I got my son joke around on a Sunday live stream that I do with a friend of mine. It's you know, my son keep asking for this Nintendo Switch. Dad, on the Nintendo Switch. Dad, I want the Nintendo Switch. But guess what? With these little games that we done got him, just these little games, these old school games, I can't give him that Nintendo Switch because I can't trust him with it. I can't trust him with the little games, bro, because I ain't gonna never see him. It's gonna be all about that Switch. I told him, I said, you don't understand how the things that you think. And here's what's crazy. He got the money to go buy his own Switch.
Yeah.
He has the money. He got about $300-400 saved up. But guess what? That Nintendo Switch ain't in his house because him getting that Switch has nothing to do with how much money he got. Oh, goodness. It got everything to do with his character and how he see it. He ain't gonna respect in order to get it. So if that's the same thing with our own kids, what do you think our father's trying to say? If he's trying to help you be the best person that you can possibly be, it can't be because you got to go get more money to get what you're trying to get. He's like, no. You just, I can't trust you.
Woo. Bro, do you know what you're saying? There's some brothers right now that's watching that's stupid successful.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, listen, come on, man. You rolling. We ain't talking about 6 figures. You in 7 right now. Come on, man. You listen, bro. And just think about this, that you haven't even tapped into where God wants you to go. Listen, you thinking you made it. God's like, man, I got so much more for you.
Yeah.
Man,
And that's the thing. That's the thing. We got our own success thinking because we got a little something, you know, and we better than most. Maybe around us.
Yes.
I'm winning.
Success by comparison is not success at all.
No idea what he's got in store for all of us. That's what I had to. That's what I realized. Like, oh wow, I had no idea. I thought I was winning in this, you know, as a physician and other stuff. I got complete. So,
I almost don't have the words, man. I just appreciate you coming on here and sharing your wisdom, man.
Thanks for the invitation, brother. It's amazing how God sets things up, man.
Look, we're gonna turn this world upside down. You ask me, man.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's just
Yes,
the
sir.
reality, and I feel like if we as men can get this right,
yeah,
we all will. And so.